Hi, I'm Whitney Morgan, Hashimoto's coach, gluten-free warrior, and creator of the Thyroid Reboot Method and the Gluten Gauntlet System. If you want any chance of turning your Hashimoto's around, you have to discover what your hidden triggers are. If you've been following me for a while, you've probably heard me talk about gluten, leaky gut, and gut infections as 3 common triggers for Hashimoto's. In today's video, I want to focus on a Hashimoto's trigger that doesn't get as much attention in this space, and that's heavy metal toxicity. But before we jump into it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I've helped dozens of women with Hashimoto's uncover and eliminate the hidden triggers of their Hashimoto's disease. And in more than half of my clients, heavy metal toxicity is part of their Hashimoto's story. And testing for heavy metal toxicity is part of step 4 of my Thyroid Reboot Method. Toxic metals like mercury, cadmium, and lead have been shown to increase TPO antibodies. Furthermore, because these metals put a lot of stress on our liver, which is our main detoxification organ, they can interfere with the conversion of T4 to T3. T3 being the active thyroid hormone that you need to get into your cells. Heavy metals can also accumulate directly in your thyroid gland, inhibiting the uptake of iodine and interfering with the production of thyroid hormone. So how do you figure out if heavy metal toxicity is a problem for you? Well, you've got to test. You can't guess. And testing for heavy metal toxicity can be tricky, particularly if your body is holding on to metals instead of eliminating them. And if your body is holding on to these metals instead of detoxing them, you can wind up with test results that look relatively normal. In addition, there are different ways that we look for heavy metals. Some tests look for heavy metals in hair. Some use urine, some use blood, some use the stool. And almost every test on the market relies solely on only one mode of specimen collection, and each one of those has its own limitations. Have you been tested for heavy metal toxicity? If so, put the word yes in the comments and share your story if you feel like it. So you might be asking yourself, okay, Whitney, what tests do you use to look for heavy metal toxicity? Well, I use a combination of 2 tests from Quicksilver Scientific. The first is their mercury tri-test, and the second is their blood metals panel. The mercury tri-test uses samples of urine, hair, and blood to measure the body burden of 2 kinds of mercury, methylmercury and inorganic mercury. Methylmercury is mostly from your fish consumption, but inorganic mercury comes predominantly from amalgam fillings. Now, besides measuring your actual body burden, how much mercury you have stored in your body, the mercury tri-test also is able to tell us how well your body eliminates each kind of mercury. So now you might be asking yourself, okay, Whitney, what the heck does that mean? Well, it means that if your detoxification pathways are impaired, the mercury tri-test is likely to reveal that for us. Okay, so now you might be asking yourself, well, that's great when it comes to mercury, but what about all the other metals? And that's where the blood metals panel comes in. When used in tandem with the mercury tri-test, a properly trained practitioner can assess how your body is dealing with some of these other toxic metals like cadmium and lead. If you've been working on eliminating the triggers for your Hashimoto's disease and you're not getting the results that you want, consider testing yourself for heavy metal toxicity. To learn more about my Thyroid Reboot Method and how to uncover the hidden triggers of your Hashimoto's disease, use the link I provide in the video notes. And if you're watching the replay on IGTV, just head to my bio link. Thanks for watching. And if you found this video helpful, please let me know by liking it, subscribing to my channel, or sharing this video with a friend who has Hashimoto's. And if you have questions, leave them in the video comments. I try my best to answer each and every one. I'll see you next week. Bye.